Hello guys, this is Stella and welcome to my story. Today I will share a little bit of my life with you and tell you how I got to have two beautiful kids in my life. Currently I have an 11-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy who were actually my sister-in-law Audrey's kids. This story is about how I ended up being their guardian along with my husband Ace. Ace and Audrey were siblings who loved each other. Their mother, June, was also an amazing mother to them. They lost their dad shortly before Ace went to high school. I believe that caused his sister to spiral and get into the world of drugs. Audrey always had a marker drug problem since then. She barely got through high school and dropped out of college despite June paying for it out of her own pocket. She then proceeded to sleep with multiple people until she got pregnant with her daughter. Since she decided to keep the baby, June and Ace both swooped in to make things work. They did their best to be there for Audrey when she was struggling on her own. The baby's daddy left and signed away his rights. June and Ace didn't fight this because the dad was a criminal and the kid was better off without him. He wasn't that interested in a child anyway, so June and Ace pay for Audrey's daughter while she takes it as a free pass to do whatever she wants. When I started to date Ace, I always found Audrey to be problematic. I could tell that she was an absent mother and only showed concern for her child when she was around people. She had a habit of dropping off her kid with us while she did God knows what. By then, June had already moved to a different city for work but kept in touch and sent her money to help out. She actually pushed back her own retirement so that the kid was taken care of. They were always positive that Audrey would take control of her life and step up to be a good parent. I was skeptical and was proven to be true when she got pregnant with her son. She had no job and was still living on June's money. Ace and I stepped in to help, but I wanted her to understand what she was getting into. I said, "Audrey, you really need to step up now that you are having two kids. Things are going to get much more difficult later. Keep your advice to yourself, Stella. I didn't ask for it. I'm doing a pretty good job anyway. My daughter grew up just fine, and so will my son." You did get a lot of help from June back then, Audrey, but she isn't living here anymore. Sometimes it may be a problem for you. I think you should look for a job now to start somewhere. We will help out as much as necessary, but still, it is a lot of responsibility. Don't you dare lecture me about what I should do, Stella. I can take care of my own kids. You don't have to come blabber about my responsibilities. I know you are just jealous of me because you can't have kids. You are doing a poor job of hiding it. Audrey knew exactly how to hurt me. When we had this conversation, I was married to Ace for over a year. We had just gotten word from our doctor that I am infertile. I won't lie and say that I took the news well. I was a mess. But I wasn't jealous of seeing others with kids. It did hurt, but I was happy for them. Audrey knew that it was a sore spot and decided to hurt me. Ace was furious and said, "How dare you talk to my wife like that, Audrey? We are both doing a lot for you. She is right to ask you to get a job. We pay for freaking everything you do. Now that you have two kids, you should be doing more for your own kids." "Of course you will help me out. They are your niece and nephew. You barely give me any money. Mom gives me a lot more." "I send you $1,000 a month, Audrey. Stella looks after our niece whenever you ask. We already do a lot for you, so don't pretend you have done a great job in getting your life together." "Fine then. If babysitting is such a big problem, I will find other ways. I don't need your jealous wife's help anymore. Who knows when she will end up stealing my kids? Women like her can be pretty delusional." Audrey huffed and kicked us out immediately. I felt really hurt by Audrey's words and cried throughout the night. Ace comforted me a lot, but the damage was done. From that day on, I knew exactly what kind of a person Audrey was. I avoided contacting her too much and only showed up for her special days. I did offer to watch my niece despite her comments, but she turned me down. Back then, I should have seen the red flags, but I didn't. I should have done more to make sure the kid was being looked after when Audrey was gone for whatever work she had, but I had no idea how bad things were in her house. The baby boy was born and soon things started to get really weird. Audrey started to demand more money from both June and Ace. She kept giving us various excuses about why she needed the money. It was mostly for the kids, so they gave her what she wanted. Years passed and nothing changed. However, Ace was starting to get really annoyed. Audrey was still not working and solely living on his and his mom's money. He was also getting a little suspicious as to why Audrey needed so much money. Another point of contention was the fact that Audrey kept changing boyfriends and bringing them to the house. Slowly we realized that Audrey must be lagging off her motherly duties, so we decided to check what was going on. Ace and I did end up going for a surprise visit to their house one day. What we found there made us call CPS. Long story short, both the kids were placed in our care. I will tell you guys what happened later in the story, but I will tell you that Audrey was super unhappy about us taking the kids. She regularly badmouthed us, among many other things. Still, we ended up inviting her to her son's birthday party. She was his mom, after all. Plus, we wanted to see if Audrey had changed even a little after having her kids taken away. Well, she didn't change one bit. This was the conversation I overheard between June and Audrey at our party. Audrey, you need to tell me what happened with CPS. I'm getting really concerned with this situation. Oh, Mom, where do I even start? This was all Stella's plan, you know. I had a feeling she would come after my kids and take them away from me. What are you saying, Audrey? Stella would never do that. Why would she take away your kids? You don't understand, Mom. She's jealous of me because she can't get pregnant. God knows how my kids are doing without me. I don't think I believe that, Audrey. That is a big accusation. The kids seem happy to be with Stella and Ace. What is even going on? You have to tell me. She's a freaking monster and used her money to keep my kids happy. That's why they don't even want to talk to me. She had ruined my life, Mom. Audrey kept crying and telling everyone this story. There were a lot of people at this party and everyone seemed to sympathize with her. I mean, her story was almost tragic, but we knew that it wasn't true. At that moment, I was freaking fuming. I got Ace's attention and told him what his sister was telling people. He was also very mad and said, Audrey will never learn, Stella. She just keeps showing us what a horrible woman she is. It was a mistake inviting her to the party. Even her kids don't want to be around her. I think it was the right thing to invite her, Ace. We gave her a chance, but she threw it away. Now that we know that she won't change, we should just tell everyone the truth about what happened. I agree with you, Stella. Audrey really shouldn't have spread lies about you. We had protected her because we didn't want her to be humiliated anymore. But at this point, she doesn't deserve our empathy. Go ahead, tell everyone. The decision was made and I was determined to finally take some sweet revenge against Audrey. She was going to pay dearly for insulting and hurting me. I quickly took the kids and put them in their room. I also asked my sister to keep an eye on them. Then I squared my shoulders and marched back onto the lawn to talk to everyone. I rang my glass of champagne with a spoon to draw everyone's attention. When everyone gathered around me, I looked at my husband for the green signal. He nodded his head at me and told me to go ahead. I then started to say, So, I actually wanted to get your attention to clear some things in today's party. This party was supposed to be for the kids, but I see that someone has been making it all about them. I think that I need to address that right now. What is it, dear? You sound very angry. Is everything all right? No, everything's not all right, June. There are certain things that me and Ace have been hiding from you guys to save you from pain, but I guess I shouldn't have done that. Audrey has been using our empathy to make us look like bad people. I can't allow that to happen. I've been hearing that Audrey is telling people how I took her kids because I'm jealous of her. Well, I will now tell you the real reason why her kids are living with me and Ace. Audrey looked really panicked as soon as I said that. She must have thought that I wouldn't confront her about her lies. Ace and I were trying our best to protect what was left of her reputation, but she had really gone beyond redemption. I wasn't going to make myself out to be the bad guy to protect Audrey. Even Ace wouldn't do it for his own sister. I looked straight into her eyes and said, "Audrey's kids are living with us because CPS has deemed her to be an unfit parent. Yes, we made the call to CPS because we knew the reality of her household. She had been neglecting her kids and putting them in dangerous situations to enjoy her life without any responsibility." "That is not true. What the hell are you saying? Those are all lies. Guys, you shouldn't believe a word she says. I'm telling you right now, Ace and Stella stole my kids because Stella is unable to have kids of her own. She was jealous of me and used her money to lure my kids into her house." "Really, Audrey? Is that the story you're going for? If we really wanted kids that bad, we could have easily adopted them. We didn't need to steal anyone's kids from them. And how will you even explain why CPS deemed you an unfit parent?" "That was all part of your plan. I know you two have bribed the caseworkers and intentionally made up lies about me. Then you took my kids away from me and spoiled their minds with your riches. Shame on you two." Audrey started to loudly cry, while June immediately tried to comfort her. Don't worry, June wasn't on her side whatsoever. She was just being a mother to her one daughter. She didn't know the details of what happened since we didn't tell her. We wanted to save her from the pain of knowing that her daughter was a failure. So, when the truth came out, she was unsure who she should trust. I wasn't going to blame her for that. However, I was going to set the record straight, so I calmly looked at everyone around me and said, "I have plenty of proof to show that Audrey is lying to all of you. Frankly, I was willing to keep things a secret until my dear sister-in-law started to blabber around and spread lies, so I have no remorse in showing you guys her true face. I think it is high time Audrey stops blaming us for her wrongdoings. We did our best to help her children, and the least she could do was be grateful enough to keep her mouth shut. Now that it is clear how disgusting Audrey can be, I have no problem letting everything out in the open either. So, to start with, let me tell you why we decided to call CPS on my sister-in-law. Ace and I had dropped in for a surprise visit because we were in her area. When we walked up to her house, we found that the entire place smelled of illegal drugs. Then we found the kids sitting in their rooms, absolutely terrified of their surroundings. When we walked into the kids, we found out that Audrey had left them alone to go on a date with her boyfriend. She regularly changed her boyfriends and kept bringing them around the kids. The current one has a list of criminal charges against him, but my sister had no problem bringing him near the kids. She was also heavily using drugs that CPS later found in her room. We decided to call CPS because her kids were severely traumatized. Audrey was regularly abusing them and leaving them alone to go have fun. The neighbors confirmed this when CPS talked to them. The neighbors told us that she would sometimes leave the kids at their doorstep to force them to babysit for free. We assessed the situation and took the kids to our house with CPS's permission. Audrey was found to be an unfit parent and actually spent a night in jail for drug possession. Since their father had signed away his rights, the kids had nowhere to go. That's why they're staying with us. So Audrey is just lying to you all, when in reality she alone has been responsible for losing her kids. When we both stopped speaking, we saw that everyone in the room looked shell-shocked. Why wouldn't they? What Audrey had done to her own kids was horrible. It was one of those cases which people prayed wouldn't happen in their family. Audrey was truly a vile and insane woman, and it was natural for everyone to be disgusted with her. I even saw June eye Audrey with disbelief before moving away from her in disgust. Audrey quickly realized that people were turning against her, so she started to cry again and tried to make herself the victim in the story. One might have hoped that she would finally be ashamed now, but clearly she is beyond help. She doubled down on her lies and said, No, none of this is true. I'm a respectable lady and never did such things. I left home for a few minutes due to an emergency. The kids were fine. These two horrible people came into my house and planted those drugs so that I would lose my kids. Seriously, Audrey? Have you no freaking shame? You know how untrue your words are. We literally have proof of everything. Hell, the cops even found drugs in your car when they arrested you from where you were with your boyfriend. How the hell did we plant those? God, you just keep disgusting us more and more. I'm glad the kids don't have to be with you anymore. They are already dreading going back to you. Mind you, I have pictures of the bruises that happened when you hit them. CPS had records of that too. You are a shit mother, Audrey. Mom, look at your son. Look at what he's saying. He's making up all those lies about me because of his wife. They want to steal my kids, Mom. You need to do something. June looked stunned at us all until we showed her the proof we had on our phones. The pictures of their bruises, the state of the house when we visited, the mugshot of her and her boyfriend, all of it. June looked at those pictures and her eyebrows shot to the sky. She looked at Audrey with pure anger and literally screamed at her, saying, "How dare you abuse my poor grandchildren, Audrey? What kind of a horrible mother have you become? After all this, where did you even get the audacity to ask me for help?" Mom, why are you yelling at me? I may have made a few mistakes, but I am being charged for nothing. I deserve my kids back. Shut up. Just shut up, Audrey. You don't deserve those sweet kids who have never done anything wrong. You keep neglecting and abusing your defenseless kids and asking me for money for your drugs. You deserve nothing but hate. These are not mistakes, Audrey. They are freaking crimes. Mom, why are you taking their side? I'm your child. I should be able to raise my kids. Stella and Ace had no business meddling in my life. What can't you see? Seriously, Audrey, how shameless can you be? They freaking saved the kids from you. You are not capable of caring for them. Hell, I don't even think you love or care for your kids. All you care about are money and drugs. They did the right thing by calling the cops on you. If I had known about everything sooner, I would have called the cops and CPS myself. Audrey hadn't expected her own mother to turn on her like that. June really loved Audrey. They had a very close bond, so it came as a huge shock to June that her one daughter was such a failure of her mother. We all knew that June used to send Audrey money to help her take care of the kids, but clearly the money was spent elsewhere since the kids were super skinny and left alone without a babysitter almost every day. June was just as shocked as we were when we discovered what was going on. Audrey was now in real tears while June kept yelling at her. Everyone around joined in, saying that she was a failure and should have done better. The truth was finally out and Audrey had nowhere to hide. She was facing the heat while we watched on. But none of us were prepared for what June said next. She said, "Audrey, don't you dare think that I will ever give you money again. I have tried to set you straight multiple times, but you have failed me miserably." No, Mom. Please don't say that. I really need your help. I need lawyers to get out of this mess. I have to go to court. They will put me in prison. You have to help me. Your brother had the decency to pay for your bail, but you had the audacity to talk shit against him and his wife. You have clearly shown that you simply don't value people's help. How will I ever trust you again? Mom, I promise I will be better. Don't leave me destitute, Mom. I'm afraid we've given you too many chances. Maybe a little jail time will set you straight. From now on, I will only do what's necessary to make sure my grandkids have a good life. I will be disinheriting you and make sure that you don't get a cent after my death. Your portion will go to your kids, and I will make sure you cannot lay your hands on them again. No one was expecting this, to be honest. In fact, I had somewhat expected June to cave and help out her daughter again. She was her favorite after all. But this time, June was absolutely done with her shit. The thought of her grandkids being abused made her see red and brought out her grandma's bear instincts. She was determined to protect her grandkids even from her own daughter. Honestly, I think she made the right decision to exclude Audrey from her will. Audrey wouldn't change, so it would be better for the kids to get the money no matter who they stay with. However, Audrey was not having it with June's decision. Audrey fell at June's feet and started to wail like a mad woman. She kept crying and begging June not to cut her off. She was really showing her true colors for being concerned about the money. She should have been happy that her kids were being taken care of. Instead, she was lamenting the fact that her mom wouldn't give her free money to do what she wanted. Audrey didn't want to face the consequences of her actions. She wanted it all, without the responsibility and trouble. Of course, she won't be getting anything. Her drama was only making her look worse in front of everyone. When things became too much for us to handle, we kicked her out. She left because we threatened to call the cops. The rest of our party was a blast. The kids visibly relaxed as soon as Audrey was thrown out. It broke our hearts to see them so scared of their own mother. I vowed then and there that I would do everything to protect them. June also thanked us for taking care of the grandchildren and promised to help out in any way possible. We told her to look after herself and plan her retirement. The kids were our responsibility now. I am glad to tell you guys that the kids were placed with us permanently. Audrey went to jail for 5 years because of drug possession and child abuse charges. Audrey had signed away the custody of her kids to us. We still don't know what the future holds for us, but we are hopeful we will be able to give them a good life. A year has already passed, and the kids are thriving in their new environment. They have been put in therapy, and we're working through the issues. It's not rainbows and roses every day, but there has been a lot of progress. It gives me immense peace to see them grow up loved and cared for. We're thinking about adopting them and are in the process of making Audrey sign away her parental rights. Money will be offered to her, so we are hopeful she will agree to it. I hope you guys pray for us so that we can formally adopt the kids and never let them suffer in a bad household again.